Hey everybody, and welcome to Bits of Board, where we're talking board games, miniatures, cards, and dice. My name's Michael, and today we continue on our journey through Kingdom Death Monster. We're in Lantern Year 20. This is epic stuff for us, for all involved. We are at a landmark point of the game where the Watcher becomes a viable foe for us. We can essentially finish the 1.0 Kingdom Death game here, right now. Now, of course, this isn't going to be the end of our journey for two reasons. 1.5 has a brand new boss later on down the track, so even if we take on the Watcher and win, there is still much more of a journey to go. The other reason is, well, we're not taking on the Watcher today, are we? We are taking on the Screaming Antelope. Now, last vid, I left a couple of options open just so I could digest where we were up to, and well, I've decided to take on another Screaming Antelope for a barber surgeon and a lot of resources to help us prepare. Don't forget that. So without further ado, guys, let's dive in. Alright, here we are ending the development phase for Lantern Year 20. I left us before with the choice between pottery and bed. If we were going to hunt, we'd go pottery. If we were going to take on the Watcher, we would go bed. Now, still knowing very little about our upcoming Watcher encounter, I just don't feel 100% confident going into it. So we are going to go for pottery so we can unlock some fairly interesting new items. Now, these are going to be available to us at the end of this hunt if all goes well, because we're going to be going for that level 2 antelope. Yes, I know, but this time I promise we're going to get the barber surgeon. Now, that does leave us with one endeavor, and I probably wasn't going to spend this on pottery. I thought maybe we could aid in the development of one of our newest survivor to the ranks. Now, we've got two unnamed survivors to choose from here. These guys have never seen the light of battle. Survivor number 15, the son of Dryleaf and Freya. The other being survivor number 22, the son of Freya and Puck. Now, Puck, just having been murdered by Ceres, the new leader of our civilization, well, it's probably time that he puts his mettle to the test. So may I introduce Loci. Now, hopefully I'm not going to get this confused with Lucky in later games, but I thought Freya of being Norse mythology and Puck being a mischievous fairy, that Loci would be a fairly good choice of name here. Now, what does that have to do with this endeavor here? Well, I was thinking we might actually have him gain the Scholar of Death secret fighting art. Now, it's not going to do too much for our current encounter, but it will aid in future encounters right now, especially with that phoenix. So here that is. On arrival, a character having Scholar of Death will gain reroll tokens equal to the number of volumes recorded about your quarry. Now for us, that means 2 reroll tokens when we go up against the phoenix, because we've had 2 survivors working on these volumes over their years, and we're just making sure their efforts aren't lost in vain. You may discard a reroll token to reroll one of your roll results during the showdown. This includes monster roll results when you are the monster controller. So it's a pretty powerful secret fighting art in select occasions. But when we're talking a little bit of assistance taking on the Phoenix, well, we'll take any bit of assistance we can get. Now, that being said, we're not taking on the Phoenix now. I need that barber surgeon event so bad. So we move from the development stage into the prepare departing survivors stage. And that means it's time to head off. Alright, first survivor out of the gates here is Eris. Now, she was very sick this lantern year, but made a total recovery, so she's going to head on out celebrating her life and hopefully do the settlement proud by bringing back the head of the Screaming Antelope. Now, she's of course going to be wielding the bow here. Now, I wasn't totally convinced on the arc bow. I love the arc bow. It's super strong, super powerful. But the catgut bow here, that gives us an extra dice to roll. So I was thinking maybe swapping it out for that. I know it doesn't have quite the high strength that the arc bow has, but Eris has 4 strength. Ooh. No, let's play it safe and go for those definite wounds there, sticking with the arc bow. Now, she's got the full set of rawhide gear, which makes it very hard for her to spend her survival. In fact, every time she does spend her survival, we roll the dice and on a 6+, she gains it back. Now, thanks to our connected affinities on the rawhide vest, we gain that +1 evasion token, which is good just in case she does get in a nip of trouble. Lastly, she does have Timeless Eye. Of course, the fact that she is possessed means she can't actually use that. So what are you gonna do? Her strength is in her very high base stats. She's got +2 to accuracy, +4 to strength, and +1 to evasion. I hope she does well. Next survivor is one we haven't seen in action for a while. This is Dis. Now, Dis is rocking the full set of screaming armor, which gives him access to a very nice ability called Skewer. Now, we've mainly got him on board for some damage output. He is dual wielding the Butcher's Cleavers, which are insane. This means he's going to be rolling 4 dice, hitting base on 5+ with 5 weapon strength. Amazing. Not only that, he has the Lucky Charm in action with +1 luck. Now, this is probably the first time I've actually managed to pull off this fighting art, but he has Rhythm Chaser. On arrival, he'll gain a +1 evasion token. When you're knocked down, if you don't have an instrument in your gear grid, remove all your +1 evasion tokens. All right, well, I didn't give him an instrument, whoopsies. But as long as he doesn't get knocked down, from arrival, he is going to have +1 evasion. Now, he's also achieved the axe weapon specialization. When attacking with an axe, if your wound attempt fails, you may ignore it and attempt to wound the selected hit location again. Now, this is only something we can do once per attack, but that's pretty dang cool. I reckon it would be pretty hard for us to fail an attack with all this strength, but all the more reason to have a free reroll there, right? Next, we have another survivor who's celebrating the fact that they are still alive. Ladies and gentlemen, Nora. Now, she is our apathetic survivor. Now, this is probably the most pain in the ass disorder you can pick up in this game. You cannot use or gain survival. You cannot gain courage. You may cure this disorder if you have 8 or more understanding. Now, the fact that she can't spend courage means a massive disadvantage for us today. And I've tried to offset that as much as I can, having the double weapons with the blood paint. It just means double the attack and hopefully a chance to do some damage. The reason I'm bringing her along is we need her to get to retirement age. I don't want her clogging up our living survivors, and honestly, 200 XP for a simple antelope? Yeah, I think we got that covered with our other 3 survivors. Actually, to top off her story, she actually has a dismembered arm as well, so that prevents her from using any two-handed abilities, which I find pretty funny because she will be able to use the blood paint. Maybe she's got the beast knuckles in the same hand that the hunter's whip is flying around with. A bit of a punch, a bit of a whip, why not, right? Honestly, nothing much going on there. She does, however, gain a +1 movement token, so let's hope that's of some benefit. And last but not least, our newest survivor, Loci. Brand new into the game, he has a very impressive set of base stats. +1 accuracy, +3 strength, and +2 to evasion. These are all thanks to our barbaric principle, our clan of death, and survival of the fittest. As mentioned previously, he has the Scholar of Death secret fighting art, but that is not going to be of any help to us at all today. We've got the full set of leather armor, which prevents bash, but most importantly, he's rocking the Zanbato. This is a grand two-handed weapon, and something I kind of wanted to test out. I know you can't actually gain any weapon proficiency points just yet, but I wanted to make sure I liked it before investing in it. We've got the Boss Mendi, which is a support weapon there. Boss is brave. While adjacent to you, insane survivors will gain +1 speed. So as long as all of our survivors keep together, that is going to be hugely beneficial. Lastly, he's got the bone sickle and bone pickaxe, meaning we're going to be hunting for some resources. Definitely needs some iron. Let's hope we can pick up an iron deposit on the settlement board too. Whew. All right, guys, let's head on out. All right, here we have our crew ready to go. Out there in the distance, far, far away, is a screaming antelope. Lovely. So our survivors have got a fair way to go before they make it up there. It all starts with that first step. Let's head off. Our first event is a screaming antelope event here. Some unseen force has set off a massive migration. Nothing remains but uprooted acanthus plants and shattered ground ruined by hooves. Move the screaming antelope 3 spaces away from the survivors on the hunt board. Whoa, that right there is one hell of a distance away. He is the very last spot before the edge of starvation. All right, nothing more to do with that event, so let's move on through into our first random event. We roll our dice, 27. This one here is man-stealers. Exhausted, the survivors rest. During their fitful sleep, a small insect approaches undetected. Choose one random male survivor and roll on the table. If there are no male survivors, nothing happens. If the chosen survivor has the unconscious fighter fighting art, they crush the bug while still snoring. Do not roll on the table. They wake confused with a random vermin resource in their hands. That's fantastic. All right, so I guess we're gonna have to roll here. We've got Loci and Dis in the team, so I'll have Loci black, Dis the bone dice. Whoever rolls lowest will be our unlucky survivor. Oh, double, all right. Let's roll again. That's a 6 and a 9, I thought it happened again. So it looks like Dis is going to be our unlucky male survivor. Let's roll for him. A 5. Oh no. When you wake, your genitals have been stolen. In their place is nothing but smooth skin. Suffer the destroyed genitals severe injury. That's sad. Okay, so we are done with our random event there. Let's move on into our next hunt event card. We have Dead Antelope. The survivors are struck by the scent of rotting meat wafting from a hulking corpse ahead. The event revealer may lead the survivors to investigate, and if they do, they gain 1 random vermin resource, 2 random screaming antelope resources, and roll 1d10. On a result of 7 or more, the survivors are startled by the arrival of the antelope's killer, a white lion. Now, I'm pretty familiar with this card and don't quite feel like taking on a level 3 white lion right now, so we are not going to risk that one, and we're going to roll a random hunt event instead. Here we go. 39 this time. This one is Heavy Mist. A heavy mist envelops the survivors, obscuring their lantern light. Roll 1d10. If the result is even, the survivors stumble in the right direction. If the result is odd, they get turned around. Roll again on the hunt event table before moving on the hunt event board. If the showdown begins in the next space of the hunt board, the monster ambushes the survivors. Well, there'll be none of that, so let's roll our dice. It's a 5, so we get turned around and actually have to roll again on the random hunt table. Wow. All right, this one is flat out 30, and we have rotten faces. The stone faces start to give under the survivors' feet. They are bloated and smell terrible. Each survivor rolls 1d10, and we'll have a look at those as we roll. So we'll have Eris at the top, Dis, Nora, and Loci. I'm gonna roll for the whole crew and we'll see what we get. 6, 10, and an 8. Now our 6, 7, and 8, we may escape without incident. Brilliant. But that 10 plus, you find something gross drudging through the rot. Gain 1 random basic resource. So we get a monster hide. Love it. Okay. So after getting lost in a sea of rotten faces, we may now move on to the next random event. Shuffle on through. Let's see what we get this time. 57. The rhythmic wail of a Gorm's laughter reaches the survivors, filling them with fear. The cackling follows the survivors, tormenting them until they reach their quarry. Place a token on every hunt space between the survivors and their quarry. When the survivors move into a space with a token, remove it, and all non-deaf survivors suffer 1 brain event damage. Whoa! We are so far away, this sucks. Alright, I'm going to throw out some bleeding tokens. Alright, that's it for that though. And our survivors move in and we're going to do some herb gathering. Now, before we do that, of course, everyone's going to suffer 1 brain event damage. Next up, our survivors consume herbs and berries and they all gain +1 survival. That is everybody except for Nora, who of course can't gain any survival. And then we move into the herb gathering story event. Now each survivor must make a gathering roll. To do this, we roll any number of dice and add the total together. However, if we roll any doubles, the total we end up with is going to be a 0. The idea is we want a total of 75 or more. Let's begin with Eris's roll. We're going to go with 4 dice. Good stuff there. 10, 7, 9, and 4. That is 30. Whoa. Next survivor we have is Dis. That is 2 2s right there. So we get a 0. No good. It's alright, we've still got 2 survivors left. Let's go for Nora next. Okay, that's respectable. Total of 18, I believe. Now we've got a total of 48 so far. So we're going to need to roll quite well if we're going to make the 75. But the good news is, even if we roll a 0, we still get to enter into the second best of the story events. So we may as well go all in and roll, what about 6 dice? Yeah, here we go. Did we do that? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's a straight. Far out. Is it going to be enough? 10, 20, 28, 33, 81. Whooped it. We get the 75 plus option here. What a roll. The survivors find a path through the weeds. Any survivor with a sickle may explore the swamp or gain a fresh Arcanthus strange resource. Well, I'm thinking Loci is going to explore. Let's see what he can get. We only roll 1 dice here. We have to take it. 4. This is quite cool. You find a captivating clearing, gain a fresh Arcanthus strange resource, and explore the swamp again. Any survivors that have not explored may now also roll on this table. Loci leads us through, all of us, and now we can all explore together. Firstly, let's start our good news off with a fresh Arcanthus. I'll pop that there. Next, let's roll through everybody. We'll start with Eris. 3. Whoa! Suddenly, the water around you bubbles furiously. Spend 1 survival to dive to safety or perish. If you have 3 or more courage, you may explore the swamp again. Well, we're definitely going to spend that survival, right? And we do have a bunch of courage with us, so I'm thinking she's going to roll again. That makes a second fresh Arcanthus. My bad. So we've done those 2 guys then. Let's move on. Ooh, Nora. She of course can't spend survival and doesn't have any. We may lose her here. Yikes. That is not good, oh my god. What? Okay, no, okay, we're okay. A huge waterlogged plant bursts from the depths and devours you. You are dead. If the settlement has survival of the fittest, you manage to escape. Thank goodness. We certainly do have survival of the fittest. So yeah, we make it through, but just barely. Lastly, Loci is going to roll. And we get a 6. What is this BS?
A ghostly flower blooms, uncovering a face inside. It tells you that you are a peaceful, careless flower. Remove any disorders and gain apathetic and +1 understanding. Oh, I hate this disorder. We are going to need 6 more points of understanding before we can spend our survival again. This is just the worst. Man, alright. We take away those fresh Arcanthus and we move into the random event place here. Let's roll and get a ton of understanding, please. So we've got 20 here. The drylands. As the survivors press forward, the air turns dry and the ground cracks. The survivors suffer heat exhaustion. Each survivor loses 1 survival, and if they are wearing fur or heavy gear, they instead lose 1d5 survival. If any survivor has a pickaxe, the survivors break open an interesting looking vein in the cracked ground. Gain 1 iron. Strange resource. Cool, cool. Alright, well there is our iron. Loci loses a survival. Now all of our survivors are wearing pretty standard gear at the moment, so each one will lose just 1 point of survival. Except for Nora, who has both fur and heavy gear, so she would lose 1d5 survival. However, as she has no survival, well, there's no real point. Now we're going to move into the overwhelming darkness space here, and we're going to have everyone suffer 1 brain event damage. And then, well, overwhelming darkness. Alright, Dis here, he's going to walk the path of the brave. We're going to roll him 1d10, and we score a 7 for him. Nora, she walks the path of the insane, and we roll for her 3. Loci and Eris, they both walk the path of the doomed. Eris and Loci, and let's see what all this means. Eris is 8. We get resolute, gain +1 insanity and +1 courage. Brilliant. Dis, brave 7. With your lantern held high, you cut a path through the teeming darkness. Suffer 1 event damage to your arms. Oh no. Nora rolls a 3 on the path of the insane. You feel safe and welcome within the darkness. Spend all your survival, at least 1, to shake yourself from this delusion, or wander into the darkness, lost forever. Dead. Well, guys and gals, thanks to her apathetic disorder, she's got no survival and she cannot spend it. Farewell, Nora. You were not long for this world. She wanders off into the darkness, and we're left with 3 survivors for this encounter. Oh my god. Alright, Loci, please do a little better. Here is the path of the doomed, and what did we get? A 5. You choke on the atmosphere. It leaves you sick and unbalanced. Lose monster level survival and gain a -1 evasion token. Alright, that drops him down to 4 survival, and that -1 evasion token is not going to help as he is going to be in the thick of combat. We have 3 survivors to continue on the hunt, and forward we go. Everyone suffers 1 more brain event damage, and we go for the mineral gathering event. Hopefully this goes a little better than the herb gathering. Every survivor with a pickaxe will roll on the table up here. Let's hope we get something good. Stay. 3 is not good. You strike a stone that resembles your face. It explodes, covering you in blood. Gain +1 insanity and the hemophilia disorder. Really hasn't been a good run for Loci, has it? I guess having his father murdered was just not a good omen. We move into the next hunt card for the antelope. Skittish. Panicked by the oncoming survivors, the screaming antelope moves 1 space away from the survivors on the hunt board. And that puts the antelope on top of the starvation line. If he goes any further, we are going to lose resources at the end of all this. Damn. Alright. Move into the next random event, and of course it's another brain damage for everybody. We roll for the random hunt event. Oh, sorry about that, buddy. He's okay. And we get a 15. Man trap. The event revealer springs a terrible trap. All right, well, first off, who is our event revealer? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, boom, boom, and boom. Whoa! Loci is our event revealer today. And it looks like we're gonna roll 1d10. Let's see what we can pull off. That's a 9 there, solid work. The trap is quite old and weak. Suffer 1 event damage to the legs. No worries. All right, on to our next hunt card. And this is, well, not gonna do anything. No one has any insanity left, well, no one living. We get Carpet of Ticks. The ground is covered with a carpet of huge, writhing ticks. Each survivor must try to fend off the swarm. Roll 1d10 and add your hunt experience to the result. On a 6+, you successfully smash the ticks away in a shower of gore. Otherwise, on a result of below 6, the ticks make you sick. Reduce your survival to 0 and roll 1d10. On a result of 8+, suffer 1 permanent -1 strength. Yikes. Don't like this at all. All right, rolling top to bottom. Ugh. No good. Eris's total is a 5. She has failed. Dis makes a 9 and is fine today. Loci, well, he sticks out the 4 here, so we're rolling for both of these guys here. For starters, they lose all points of survival. Boom, a 1, all right, so that's good. And boom, a 9. So Loci loses 1 point of strength permanently. Oh, this is so bad. Okay, let's shuffle on in to another random event. Everyone would suffer 1 brain damage here. Let's roll for this sucker. 77. I think we've seen this one a couple of times. Where is it? Sinkhole. A gaping sinkhole suddenly opens under the survivors, revealing a swirling black pool of ichor beneath them. Each survivor rolls 1d10. The lowest scoring survivor, or survivors in case of ties, becomes a straggler. Each straggler rolls 1d10. If any other survivor has a whip, they throw a line to the straggler, at which point they would add +4 to their rolls. All right. Let's figure out what is going on here again. Top to bottom. We get a 6, a 3, and a 4. All right, it looks like both Dis and Eris are safe here, and Loci, poor Loci, is our straggler. Let's see what he gets. We roll a 6. You are dragged to safety, terrified but unharmed. Wow. All right, we're almost there, guys. One last random event. And there is the antelope in front. Let's see what we get. 95. Grim and frostbitten. Fair enough, they've come a long way. There is a dead stillness in the air. The atmosphere becomes thick with worry, and the survivors carry on nervously. A bitter, evil cold sets in, and there is no shelter. The survivors huddle together for warmth, shivering loudly. Unless a survivor has armor gear at each location, they lose quarry monster level survival. Thankfully, everyone has armor everywhere, so we are okay, if not a little bit cold. Sounds like Canberra weather right now. And that is it, guys. Our survivors move in to take on the antelope. Not one space to spare. 3 survivors versus this beast. I think we've got it, but far out. Good luck to us all. All right, everybody, here we are at our level 2 Screaming Antelope encounter. Now, just before we get into this one, I will quickly note that at the time Loci was conceived and born, we did not have Clan of Death. So we have to remove 1 accuracy, 1 strength, and 1 evasion for him. because they were not his to have. So really, Loki is not having a good time at all this hunt. Now, onto the Screaming Antelope. We have a level 2 Screaming Antelope. The usual applies. He has his +1 damage and +1 speed. He has the Diabolical trait, which means every turn he is going to attempt to trample something, and if no one's in his trample path, he's going to run straight on ahead. That's his trample card here. If he collides with any of our survivors, they will suffer the usual collision stuff as well as monster level damage, so 2 damage in this case. Now for this encounter, our survivors have drawn the toppled pillar terrain card, and we have down here some debris. Now that's all on top of our usual huge amount of Arcanthus plants here, and we have a bug patch up the side there. Maybe we'll get up there, maybe we will not. Doesn't matter though, it's not our turn to decide what goes on first. We move straight into the Screaming Antelope's first turn, and we are going to draw his first AI card. Alright, we have a Slam. This is one of his more basic attacks. Closest knockdown survivor would be the first target. Furthest threat in field of view in range. No one is currently in range. I believe the Antelope only has a movement of 8, and that would mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 not in range at all. So he is going to graze. Now this is the usual start for us here. The Antelope is going to move 1 space forward, chow down on this Arcanthus plant here, which would heal up a wound. Of course, we haven't had a chance to wound him yet, so nothing happening there. That's the end of the AI phase for him, but we do resolve that Diabolical trait. No one is currently in his trample zones, but that doesn't mean he's not going to run, and he's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces straight on down. No, wait, 7, 8 spaces straight on down, and that is going to be the end of his first activation. We're going to start off with Eris over here with her bow. Shuffle over a smidge there. Now the reason we want to attack with Eris first is because she has the Clawhead arrow, which, if we can make a hit, will grant us a -1 evasion token on the Antelope, improving all of our chances from here on out. And that we only have 3 survivors to take this guy on, well, we need every little bit of help we can get. This is 1 dice. We're hitting on a 4+, thanks to her +2 accuracy. Tell you what, that's better than what we've had for their sneaking right in. That hit gives us this wonderful evasion token, which will pop down, and we draw our first hit location here. We have the Giant Mouth. Now this has a reflex. If attacking with a melee weapon, we certainly are not, so we're just gonna roll for the wound here. We've got a total of 10 strength going on here, and with the Screaming Antelope's 10 toughness, we just have to make sure we do not roll a 1. A 2. Yeah, we got it. No reflex for us because we're not attacking with that melee weapon. Unfortunately, no critical wound, but it is our first wound for the round. Now she is in a pretty good position where she is no trample zone for her, so we might as well surge and attack again. Eris is here with plenty of ammo. Next, we're going to be attacking with the hollow point arrow. So this surge, we're going to need a 3+ this time, thanks to that -1 evasion, and this thing has so much strength behind it, and not only that, it reduces the Antelope's movement later on. So 3+, a 2! Oh no! Terrible work there. We do miss, and unfortunately we don't get to attack with that one again. It is done for the showdown. Let's move to Dis, who's going to run up and behind the Antelope right into the blind spot. He's going to be attacking with dual Butcher's Cleavers. 4 dice. Here we're going to need 3+. This is fantastic for us. Alright, that is 4 hits. We have a 9, a 3, a 5, and a 4 sneaking in there with the lot of them. Let's find out just where we are hitting. First one is the Restless Flank. Second is the Restless Ear. Third, Gnarled Horns. And finally, we have the Restless Hoof. Now, we've got no first strike locations, we've got a couple of failures floating around, and a restless flank has a reflex. So let's hit with that one last and have a look at these other ones here. Now, if we fail with the Restless Hoof, our melee weapon is kicked out of reach by the Screaming Antelope, and we'll actually need to spend an activation to get it back. This one here, if we fail, our weapon becomes stuck. Oof. All right. As long as we don't fail, we're going to be just fine here, so we're going to attempt to wound in that order. Now, of course, we have our axe specialization in case things go awry. When attacking with an axe, if your wound attempt fails, you may ignore it and attempt to wound the location again. So, starting with the Restless Hoof, what do we need? All right, well, we've got a total of 7 strength, which means we only need 3s. 5, good enough for me. Our first one is not a failure and a solid wound at that. Our next one here, the Gnarled Horns, that's a 1. No! All right, so we're going to use our axe specialization, this bad boy here, to roll again. And a 2. We actually still fail this. How does that even happen? What do we got? If the attacker is adjacent to the monster, their weapon is stuck. Tugging frantically, it comes loose, but you stumble and suffer knockback 5. Well then, I imagine that's going to cancel both of our other wounds here, so let's get rid of them. Knockback 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bang. Certainly not happy there. Hey, would you believe I actually bought some blue tack? I haven't attached it to any bases yet, but just one step closer, guys. Alright, with that failure, we're going to move into Loki's turn. Now, we're not going to send him right behind the antelope here. We're just going to move up beside, because we kind of want a character on either side here. Now, Loki is going to be attacking with the Zanbato. This is a 1 dice attack, and we're going to be hitting on 5s. 7 is good enough for me. So let's draw our hit location and we get the delicate inverted knee. I'm always a fan of this one because if we can get that critical wound, well, we have a 10% chance of having a knockdown antelope every turn. Love it. All right, so we've got a fair bit of strength behind this attack. Total of 7, so we're only going to need 3s here, but you know, I'm hoping for that 10. 4, all right. No critical wound, so we are going to get our wounds, but thanks to our affinities, we do gain devastating, which means we inflict 2 wounds with our attack here. Absolutely brilliant, and you know what? It's totally worthwhile surging for us. Or of course it would be if this damn guy didn't have apathetic. Oh. Alright, that's it for all of our survivors. We only have 3, so we move into the Antelopes Activation. Drawing his next AI card, we get Stomp and Snort. Random survivor in range. Well, everyone happens to be in range here. Yep. So we've got our randomizer cards here, and let's turn them around and do the randomizer song. Randomize? I don't even know if there is a randomizer song. Maybe I should write one of those and we can have a cutscene for it. Anyway, this is the one. Bang. How unlucky is that? This is just an intimidation effect, but these things aren't that great for us. The screaming antelope begins to stomp and snort excitedly. A gurgled moan sounds from its undermouth. Turn to face the survivor and roll 1d10 on a 4+. The target suffers 1 brain damage per monster level and is knocked down. Let's turn this guy and let's see how we go. Hoping for a 3 or lower, a 6. Not the one I was hoping. So this guy suffers 2 brain damage. And that is a massive hit for us, I'll tell you why. So Dis started the showdown with 3 insanity. He got these thanks to his screaming leg warmers, I believe. That drops him down to 1 insanity, which is not so bad as far as things go, except the fact that he's got the Butcher's Cleaver as his main attacking weapon. This guy here has Sentinel. You must be insane to activate, which means we can't activate these for the rest of the showdown unless we can get our insanity up. Oh, I hope we can. But that is it for that card there. We move into the diabolical side of things and we check the Antelope's trample zone. We have one straight ahead and one to the left. So we're gonna roll. Evens, we go top, odds off to the side. Evens to the top it is. So the Antelope races forward, 8 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Almost back to his starter spot there. Now poor Dis, he suffers 2 damage to the waste location. That's not so bad, he's pretty well armored there. And then we move back into the Survivor's Activation. Now we're gonna have our man stand up here. Where is he? He's on top of this one. And well, we may as well attempt a hit with maybe Fist and Tooth or something up there. Let's go up and see what he can do. All right, this is gonna be 2 dice, 7 plus. Ouch. Oh, we get him. A 7 and a 9, love it. We draw 2 hit locations, this is fantastic. What do we get? The Restless Muzzle and the Restless Back. Now these are both club or shield hit locations. If we actually manage to hit with a club or a shield, we gain an additional 2 luck, blah, blah, blah. I could have attacked with the shield, but I thought Fist and Tooth, 2 dice versus 1, always a good sign. So, let's roll for these guys. What do we need? All right, I'll tell you right now, it's not ideal. We are going to need 8, 9, or a 10. Now, the good news is if we actually manage to hit, we have a 66% chance of making a critical wound here. Attacking with Fist and Tooth gives us Deadly, which acts as a +1 luck. So we're hoping for a 9 or a 10, but we'll settle with an 8. A 4. After all that, our Restless Back fails. We move onto the Restless Muzzle. Come on, come on, come on. A 9, jagging it. We get our critical wound, and what does this mean? You shock the beast with a blow to the face. The monster is knocked down. So all hits will now succeed on a 3+. That's cool for us. Let's pop him down like that, and we get our wound. Oh, I don't know if we should attack again. Let's do it, let's do it. Another 2 dice, this time hitting on 3s. Hang on, let me quickly surge, get that survival down, and we roll. 2 hits there, a 5 and a 9. Thank you, 3+. Where are we getting? Aha! The Wailing Slide and a Restless Eye. Doesn't matter about that that Restless Eye. This Wailing Slide here is a trap card. The Screaming Antelope panics. It's Undermore, unleashing an inhuman wail. It bucks wildly and leaps into the air. The attacker is doomed, of course. All survivors adjacent to the monster suffer 2 brain damage per monster level, knockback 5, and are knocked down. Let's start there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That 2 brain damage is a problem. We lose our last point of insanity, and we would usually be filling in the wound box. But thanks to that hunt phase and those ridiculous brain event damage spaces, we are now going to be rolling on the brain trauma table. Lucky for us, we have the Accept Darkness principle here, which grants us a +2 to our rolls on the brain trauma table. This thing has saved our lives, I reckon, more than anything else. Let's see how we roll. A 9. Oh, we're up to 11. All right, guys, we have Maniacal Laughter. This is a great one for us. You are knocked down and gain a -1 speed token, the priority target token, and 1d5 insanity. We kind of want to roll high here, guys. A 9. So we gained 5 insanity, and in doing so, gained the use of our Butcher's Cleaver's back. I mean, it's offset a little by this -1 speed token. It will never focus. There it is. But I'll be pretty happy to be attacking with that again. Let's finish off our Wailing Slide nonsense. The monster lands on its belly and begins to slide on its teeth. Turn the monster directly away from the attacker and full move forward in a straight line. There'll be no collision effects here because all of our survivors are far, far away. So off he goes. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, so far away. You can see everything back there. But what are the survivors going to do? That's what I want to know. I'm here for the survivors. Let's try and figure something out. Well, obviously no one's going to get an attack in, so let's try and grab some Arcanthus. How about that? Let's move with Loci. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll get him up there next to the Arcanthus. And let's harvest. Good news is we have the Bone Sickle. So we get to roll 2 dice for this harvest attempt. 8+ will gain some fresh Arcanthus. Let's see how we go. Yep, certainly do. We roll a total of 13. And how happy are we? Another one for the collection. Well, we may as well get Eris moving. She's got 5 points of movement as well. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just over here, because I have a sinking suspicion that the antelope is going to find his way back pretty quickly. We'll call the survivor's action there, and let's find out what this antelope is going to do. Now there he is, shimmering in the distance. Let me just quickly shuffle his hit location back together. And we draw our next AI card. What do we get? I don't know. Focus. Buck. At the start of each monster's turn, target and attack any survivors in the blind spot. Alright. That's going to limit our positioning a little bit, but that's alright. And we check his diabolical trait. Ugh. Is anyone in range? No. Far out. So this guy's just going to keep on moving up. I was so wrong. He's all the way up the other end of the board edge now. Alright guys, here we are on the side of the board. I want you to know that I'm not happy about filming this angle, but we're just going to have to handle it until the antelope is back in range. It looks like we're going to have everyone stand up and just waffle on over. I think he's there. Alright, let's move with Dis first. 2, 3, 4, 5. Bang up there. Let's get Loci moving. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He may as well harvest another Arcanthus. As long as we get more than the 8, we are doing okay. Alright, that means another one of these bad boys for us. And let's get Eris moving. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just up next to this one here. And she can attempt to harvest that, just 1 dice. And we get a 2. Well, that's not what we want. Well, that's not what we want. Something bites us and we suffer 1 damage to the arm location. Alright, that'll do for our survivor's activation. Doesn't look like the antelope is going to be in range to attack Loci, but we can only hope. Let's draw his next AI card. Alright, we have Back Kick. Target blind spot in range. Nope, closest threat in range. Ooh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, actually that looks like it's going to be in range. Awesome. Or kinda. We're going to move our antelope down and we're going to face him the wrong direction here. So we move and attack, turn the monsters so the target is in the blind spot. This is going to be 2 speed, hitting on a 4+. Whoa, 2 massive hits there. Let's find out where. Arms and head. It'll be 4 damage to each location. So I guess we're going to have to take that. It's not like we can spend survival here. Alright, looks like I might be able to get the camera back in range on the other side, so let's head back on over. That's better, the board looks so much better over here. Alright, we come to the end of the AI card, and we check his diabolical trait. See this sucker? We have all 3 of our survivors in the trample zone, so let's randomize and figure out who is going to get trampled here. Using these 3 again. Did the randomize, and we get, bang. That is for us, Loci. Ah, this is the one I didn't actually want. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to the board's edge over here. Ugh. And poor Loci suffers collision, knockdown, and 2 damage to the arm's location. No, that's a heavy wound. That's all right though. At the beginning of the survivor's activation, we're going to have all of our survivors stand up, and that's not the usual way of doing things, but it is one of the benefits of having the fist and tooth specialization available to all of our survivors. All right, we're in a slightly better position here. We're going to start off by activating this over here. Now I'm going to move him up 1, 2, 3, just so he ends up in the pathway of the antelope next turn, because we kind of want him back to the center of the board here. Now after moving, we're going to activate the screaming horns. Get this one in focus for you. Using this one, we may activate to scream. Non-deaf insane survivors will gain +1 movement until the end of the round. Dang, I was hoping to get the movement out of that, but at least we can grant +1 insanity to our other 2 survivors. I know they need it. All right, let's move Eris up just a little. 1, 2, 3 around here. We're just going to get her mildly closer to the other survivors, but we're also going to get her whisker harp in action. We'll spend the activation to strum. Here we're going to roll 1d10, and on a 6+ we get to discard 1 mood currently in play, and that would be that nasty buck mood that we've got going on. 1 dice, 6+. We score a 9, and that is a success for us. So we're going to go ahead and discard this mood card here, and that means Loci, he's going to be able to get in with an attack. I love a good blind spot attack. It's just 1 dice, but we only need a 4+. An 8 will do it. And we draw, what are you? The Restless Muzzle. Now this is one of those club or shield hit locations. So we're just gonna roll for the wound. Again, needing 3+. A 6 will do the job. Again, thanks to our devastating, we get to knock 2 AI cards out of the deck. As always, I would love to surge here, but that is just not going to happen. We'll move back into the Antelopes Activation and we draw the next card here. We get Bolt, closest knockdown survivor, or furthest threat in range. Alright, well, it looks like Dis and Eris are both equally in range. We're heading over to Eris. All right, our antelope is gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Actually, no, she's 7 points away. So that would be the move either way. Loci doesn't suffer bash, but that's okay. He still gets the 2 wounds thanks to collision. To the chest. We've really got to get this guy out of action. Next up, we make a 2 dice attack, hitting on 3s. All right, just the 1 hit here, not bad. It'll only be 2 damage. Where's it going? To the chest. Yeah, she can take that, she can take that. And then we full move the screaming antelope in a straight line away from all survivors. Now it looks like the bulk of survivors are on the far side, so we're gonna move him down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're almost back down to the base of the board. This guy moves ridiculously. And to make it worse, we've now got his diabolical trait. No one is in the trample line, so he's just gonna go ahead and move that last space forward up against the board edge. Oh, back down the board we go, team. All right, at least Eris is going to be able to get a shot in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well in range here. In fact, we don't even have to go there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. We're in range. We're not in the trample zone. You go, girl. Now we are going to have to spend a point of survival here to dash to gain that movement point back. But in doing so, we can spend both of our activations to let loose with the arc bow. 4+, 3+ here, all right. A 6 is our hit. And we hit the Restless Eye. Now this is a first strike. The screaming antelope's massive eyes glisten with human-like fear. If the attacker is insane, cancel all hits and end their attack. Otherwise, the attacker suffers 1 brain damage. Well, she's not insane, so it's 1 brain damage indeed. Thanks to our use of that scream ability on the screaming horns, she did have 1 point of insanity to lose, so that is very good for us. We do still get to make a hit against this, and honestly, we only need 2+ here. A 9 will do it. Now, no luck on the gear grid, so no critical wounds here, but I will take a standard wound any day. Let's get these other guys down. Loci will begin by actually harvesting, hopefully, some vermin. 1 dice here, let's see how we go. A 4. And that is enough to gain our 1 random vermin resource card. And we're gonna score a sword beetle. Love this guy. If we can roll a 6+, that's 1 permanent strength, but it's a bit of a gamble, right? Okay, that's gone, and I believe this one's gone from before too. From there, we're gonna move straight on down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's corner this guy, and we'll get dis down here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Taking it pretty easy here. Into the next Antelope AI card, we have Chow Down. If there are no Arcanthus plants on the showdown board, discard and perform a basic action. Full move the Screaming Antelope to the closest Arcanthus plant. If it ends its movement on or adjacent to an Arcanthus plant, it consumes it and heals 1d5 damage. Now I think 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We are going to be just out of range of this thing. Remember, range is not considered to be diagonal. Now the last part of this card is to place Chow Down back on top of the monster AI deck. So this is going to be drawn again and again until we can convince the Antelope that he ain't going to be healing anytime soon, right? Well, now is as good a time as any. Look at the positioning of our survivors here. Everyone is in a great spot. Let's get stuck in. We begin with Eris. 1 dice, 3+. It's a 5, which is a win for us. Where are we hitting? Oh no! Again with the Wailing Slide. The attacker is doomed. All survivors adjacent to the monster suffer 2 brain damage per monster. No one's adjacent. Fantastic. So the monster lands on its belly and full moves away from the attacker. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I hate this guy so much right now. What absolutely rubbish shuffling from me here. Oh. You know what? Let's just leave our survivors where they are. Alright, you know what? We know the Antelope is going to be trying to chow down, so we need to get rid of these 2 Arcanthus plants here. We're going to move in first up with Loci. In fact, we're going to have to move Loci up here. This is mental for us. We'll use his first activation to harvest. And honestly, we're going to get another fresh Arcanthus there. And then we roll again for the other one because oh no, can we spend? No, I can't spend survival. No. Okay. So we're going to have to get disinvolved. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A dash to get him up there. We'll spend his activation harvesting. We roll a 6, which for us will gain our survival back. That's good. Alright, and that gets rid of that one there. Cool. Whoever would have thought the best attack would be to harvest Arcanthus. We move into the Antelope's activation and we draw his next card, Chow Down. He's going to move to the next closest Arcanthus plant, which is over yonder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, he's going to be just out of reach of it there. We plop that Chow Down card back on top of the deck, and could we please get a wound on him now? Please. Let's start with Eris again. She can't stuff this up again. Come on. 1 dice, 3+. Oh. Far out. This game sucks. Alright. Dis, what have you got, mate? Let's move you up into the blind spot there. Hey, at least we're insane. We get to roll 3 dice here, not 4, because we have a -1 accuracy token. And we'll be hitting on 2s. Just as well. We get 3 hits here. Let's see where we're getting them. First to the Restless back, then the Restless Ear, and then the Ferocious Spasm. Now this has a zone of death here, so this kinda sucks. Alright, well we may as well hit these two first, go for our non-reflex cards, and see where that leads us. 3+ here for the wound. A 1. Now we're gonna have to call on his axe specialization again to re-roll. And we get a 7 this time, much, much better. So we discard the hit location and the top AI card, which is that damn Chow card. Next onto the Restless Eye. A 1! We fail. I'm gonna archive this dice in a sec here. No failure on the card, so we've just got the Ferocious Spasm here. A 4, that is gonna be a wound for us. But then we have this zone of death. The Screaming Antelope frantically attacks everything around it. One at a time, target each survivor in the zone of death and perform basic action. I'm gonna spin this guy around. This is gonna be 3 dice, but he's gonna need 4+. Oh, yes! 0 hits. Suck it, Mr. Antelope. Cool. Alright, so that would be the end of Dis's activation. Let's get Loci involved. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna have to jump over to the side here and attack with that Zenbato. 1 dice, 5+. Oh, far out. Did I pick up that dice again? Oh, who wants this dice? Seriously, this is the 1 dice. Okay, so everything fails there. Good news though, we've run out of AI cards, so let's reshuffle the discard pile. He has plenty in there, so don't worry, this isn't over just yet. Looks like 5 cards, 6 wounds, and we're done here. First AI card drawn is that Buck card. We're gonna chuck this over with his other traits, but this means at the start of the monster turn, he's gonna target anyone in his blind spot. Now we're gonna check his diabolical. We have 2 survivors in range. We're gonna have odds and evens here. Let's hope we get evens. Odds it is. Far out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got a Screaming Antelope up against the board edge, and Dis gets knocked down and suffers 2 damage to the legs location. Alright, let's have all of our survivors stand back up. And guys, really think about what you're going to do here, because we need to take on this Screaming Antelope, not play with it. Let's get Eris moving. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She's actually in range. I don't believe it. We are going to have to spend 1 precious point of survival here, but in doing so, we may dash and we gain that movement point back so we can make the attack. 1 dice, only need a 3+. Oh yeah, a big hit for us there. Where are we going? We have the Restless Shank. Now this has a wound reflex on it. With this one, we only need a 2+. And we get the 6, so we do wound. I will discard an AI card, and then we're gonna find out what this reflex does. Roll 1d10 for each survivor currently in the monster's blind spot. On a 3+, they are brutally back-kicked. Well, no one's in the blind spot, so that's good. Okay. Loci, you're too far away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But we are going to pop you there, so you're at least potentially close to something. Dis, let's get you in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I know it's the blind spot, but I'm getting reckless, right? 3 dice, 2+. Bang, bang, bang. 3 hits there. Where have we got them? The first is the palate. The second, the Restless Hoof. And third is the Furry Throat. Now we have 2 failure reflexes there. I don't think we're going to get failures, let's just say. We're going to go that Furry Throat first, and we'll work through the rest. We need 3s or more here, guys and gals. And we get a perfect 10 on our roll. All right, that means a critical wound for us. Gain 1 Screaming Antelope resource, yes please. There is a chance that this blow snaps the Screaming Antelope's neck, killing it.
roll another 1d10. On a result of 10, the Screaming Antelope dies instantly. I'm going to roll this dice and hope for the best. A 5 is not the best, but I do enjoy the fact that we get another resource here. A lovely beef steak looks delicious. Let's go for the next one. This is another 3+. And we'll make it just barely. No failure for us, so we discard another AI card. And then, the palette. Now this has a failure. Let's hope all goes well. Whoa! Another 10. All right, what do we got? The Screaming Antelope chokes on the blood spilling from its undermouth. The monster gains -1 speed token, and we archive this card. All right. He loses his speed token. That's great news for us. And that is, well, his last AI card. Can we surge? Yes, we can. Can we surge? Yes. Let's finish this. Another 3 dice. 2+. 3 hits. No traps here. Come on, come on, come on. Fairy Tail. Giant Tongue. Restless Rump. 3 solid hits here. We only need 1 of them though. Let's just start with this one here, the Fairy Tail, and work our way through. 3+, and it's over and done with. Oh no, we fail. Thankfully there are no failures on that one. So we go to the next. All right, let's go the Giant Tongue. I was almost not prepared for this, guys. 3+, and an 8. There we go. Now this one has a wound reflex on it. Blood and spittle erupt from the Screaming Antelopes wounded under more. If the wound roll result is even, suffer 1 brain damage. If the wound roll result is odd, gain 1 insanity. What did I roll? Alright, video footage tells me the roll was even. We got an 8, so we actually have to suffer 1 brain damage here. And with that, the antelope dies. Oh, may I just say that that was the most ridiculous encounter I have ever had with the Screaming Antelope. For everything from the hunt phase to the way this guy was clowning around far out. Such a frustrating encounter. Oh, I'm so happy that he is done with though. We move into the aftermath and let's collect some of our hard-earned rewards. So everyone gains 2 hunt XP. That means Loci is going to be taking on his first age milestone and Dis passes his second. So let's roll for their age milestones. We will start with Loci. 2 dice. We get an 11. That's 1 random fighting art for us. And I'll draw. So we shuffle up and we're gonna get, bang, Orator of Death. I've seen this one pop up a few times. Once per showdown, you may spend an activation to have all non-death survivors gain +2 insanity. And then if and when you die, you encourage all survivors with your last words. All right, let's get those dice back. Come back here. And we now roll for Dis. He's rolling for improved reflexes here. We get 7. Nice. That is +1 permanent strength. You know he needs it. Cool. All right, not only that, but all of our eligible survivors can gain a point of weapon proficiency. For Dis, that means 1 point in the axe proficiency. And Eris, well, she gets nothing because she's possessed. And Loci, well, he wasn't able to select anything. But I am liking the Zanbato. I don't mind the fact that we only have to roll 1 dice, but it does take off 2 wounds per hit here. So that's, I think that's worth investing in for us. Finally, we have the thing. If the monster's defeated and any survivor has 20 or more insanity, they're gone. Thankfully, no one is that mad, and we gain our resources. Finally. First up, it's 6 basic resources. We have a broken lantern, a monster bone, a monster hide, a skull, a
a questionable resource, and another broken lantern. That's the 6 basic resources, and now we get 7 screaming antelope resources. Muscly gums, spiral horn. We get a large flat bone here, which will give somebody 1 insanity. Let's send that over to Dis. How many is that? That's 3 there. 4 is our screaming brain. 5 is the bladder. 6 is a pelt, and 7 is another pelt. So we add to the pile all of our other resources that we gained from the hunt phase and from the showdown, and we get to add 1 more. Thanks to our new ultimate weapon innovation, when we defeat a monster, we gain 1 monster resource of our choice from the resource deck. Maybe we should grab another pelt so we can bump up on our leather. I know it's not a particularly rare resource, but I think we scabbed everything rare in that particular pull. So that is going to be just fine for us. Really, that ultimate weapon innovation is going to come in handy for things like the Phoenix and stuff. Alright guys, the time has finally come. If the settlement has pottery when they defeat a level 2 or more screaming antelope, they gain the Barber Surgeon's settlement location. It is finally happening. This thing had better be good. We'll have a look at that sucker as soon as we get back to the settlement. For now, let's just get back in one piece. Alright, so our survivors make it on home. We score only 3 endeavors for our 3 returning survivors. But thanks to our Graves principle, we gain 2 additional endeavors because we lost a survivor during the hunt phase. Thank goodness for Graves. All right. So we go ahead and update the timeline now. We are out of Lantern Year 20 and into Lantern Year 21. We're going to start off with a random settlement event, and we have cracks in the ground. A low rumbling fills the settlement. Small cracks in the earth widen into fissures that belch up hot, foul-smelling vapor. I guess we're rolling a dice here, people. White dice gives us a 5. The returning survivor with the lowest movement falls into a crack. What? Loci, Eris, and Dis. Each of these characters has 5 movement. What is this nonsense? Loci? Oh gosh. Eris? 10? And Dis? I'm gobsmacked. The returning survivor with the lowest movement falls into the crack. They are dead. Loci has fallen into the crack. What utter nonsense. All right. You better believe we are taking another endeavor for that. We've had a survivor die in the settlement phase. Oh my God. Okay. Let's move right along. The crack prevents all home endeavors. The vapor improves breathing, +1 to the result of all nightmare training endeavors. Oh, cool. We can spend an endeavor and 3 organs to gain the Mad Oracle ability. Once per showdown, as a monster draws an AI card, name a card out loud. If the AI card drawn is the card you named, gain +1 evasion. Or we can have Vapor Scar, but that requires scarification. You gain the following ability, Burnt Nerves. You are immune to Bash. Both of these would be amazing. Probably not well versed enough in the cards to be able to pull something out of my butt there, but I think that's pretty funny. And I don't really want to risk memory loss for anyone important. Anyway, let's just chuck that off to the side and let's play around with our 6 endeavors here. We update the death count and you bet we've had 2 die. Check milestones. Oh, crap. We are not out of the timeline phase yet because we have a Hooded Knight story event to roll out. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okie dokie. Now, our survivor with the Twilight Sword is Oren. That's Bastion's son, so there is going to be a duel here. We're going to roll for him and add 1 weapon proficiency, and we're going to add 1 to the roll for every point of weapon proficiency. We've got 5 points there, so let's see how we go. Okay, so we get 9 plus 5, gain 2 levels of weapon proficiency, 1 insanity and 1 survival. All right, I'm not too worried because, I mean, now we've got 2, 4, 6, 7 points of weapon proficiency. 1 more and he goes off and leaves us, just like his daddy did. So we add unfinished business to the timeline, so that's Hooded Knight 4 years from now. All right, let's move on with our settlement phase. We've gained our endeavors, we've updated the timeline, updated the death count, and now we are going to develop. Plenty to do here, I hope. Firstly, let's celebrate the fact that we have the Barber Surgeon settlement location finally. And just quickly looking over this, there's some pretty weird items here. I don't know if it was worth the excitement, people. Anyway, we're probably going to spend a bunch of stuff here so we can get some of our new items, but we might do that in just a sec. I'm going to duck away for a moment, have a think, and I'll be right back with everything that we're going to do in our development phase. All right, so I have a bit of a plan of what we're going to be spending all our endeavors on, but I've got to do some preliminary stuff just to make sure things work out here. So we're going to leave the Barber Surgeon alone for just a sec, and we're going to go ahead and innovate. Now, that's going to cost us 1 of our 6 endeavors, and these guys here, we've got a hide, a bone, and a beast steak there. All right, so from here, we get to shuffle up our innovation deck, and we're going to draw 4. Pick 1, hopefully this will be something that we want. Let's see how we go. Bloodletting is going to be our first. Bed is our second. Scarification our third. And drums our 4th. Now, drums unlocks some new consequences and gives us a place to spend an endeavor. If we spend our endeavor here, we may choose one of the 3 things. We can either gain insanity, survival, or the rhythm chaser fighting art, or synchronized strike secret fighting art. I'll have a look at them. That's a maybe. Scarification here. This is our 50-50 chance of getting something good. We could potentially gain some luck. We could potentially gain the tough fighting art, or we could get blinded, destroyed genitals, or, you know, lose permanent movement. That's probably a not really for me. I'm not so much a gambling man in this game, although the dice rolls are generally in favor. We have bed here, which I'm a bit of a fan of. It means we can cure our broken arms, severe injuries, amongst a couple of others. Also boosts our survival limit up. And then here we have bloodletting, where we can breathe a vein and potentially gain some understanding, insanity, or cure some disorders. Right here, I think it's going to be bed. I would love to go drums and build into that stuff, but I just don't know how much time we've got left to innovate. All right, well, these 2 are out. Now, synchronized strike is a bit of fun, and we know rhythm chase is pretty cool too, but it involves a little bit of setup, and so I think we just go with our basic boost to survival and a bit of extra survivability. Plus, this will actually come in handy for our intimacy rolls. We'll see that hopefully a little bit later this time, but we're going to add this to the innovation deck. All right, so let's spend a couple of these over at face painting. I'm thinking 2 of them over here, just so we can get our founder's eye on. Now, who is going to be the survivor for this one? Well, we're going to have to get a bit tricky. Now, Oren just hit his 2nd last Twilight Sword level, and I kind of would like this thing going again. So he's going to go over here and spend his first endeavor prettying up with the Founder's Eye. Now, he would like a 4+ here, so a 6 will do it. So when we take him on over to the intimacy phase, we can add 1 to the result. Let's add a 2nd one over here, just so we don't get like the worst possible things. Yes. All right, +2 to any of his intimacy rolls. All right, that out of the way, let's cue the love juice. We will nominate Oren and we'll nominate Eris. Now, using the love juice, we get to skip any rolls we need to do for the augury table and we head straight over to the intimacy event. All right, this is a table filled with much dread for us. We have to roll 2 dice here and we have to choose the lowest of the results. Now, I'm hoping we roll pretty well. Fingers crossed for high numbers. This is the best. This 10 we can't use, but this 9, well, it bumps up to an 11. Just missing out on a special child here, but that's all right. The settlement celebrates a twice fortunate event. A pair of healthy newborn survivors enters the world. The settlement gains +2 population. We really, really did need that. So Oren and Eris have a son and a daughter. The son is going to continue on his footsteps in the Twilight Sword and will be gaining half his weapon proficiency, so 4 points there. Kind of wish I chose someone else with a different weapon proficiency. Eris can't actually take any. That's all right. So the other child, well, nothing's going to happen for them, but they are going to get the full benefits of the Clan of Death. Lovely. Now, it's not going to be it for us on the intimacy rolls today. That's just one of our love juices. We do have another one floating around. And I thought we would take advantage of Oren and his bonuses to his intimacy rolls. And, well, let's go again. Let's make even more children for the settlement. Oren, of course, will be the father again because he gets the bonuses to his intimacy rolls. And Ceres will be the second parent. Now, she's working the bow specialization. She needs 4 points of proficiency to get to mastery, and it looks like she's only got 4 hunt XP to float around, and some of our monsters, well, they cut back with the 2 hunt XP. So, let's make some bowman babies. All right, onto the intimacy table again. We're gonna roll 2 dice, pick the lowest, but of course, we get to add 2 to our result. Oh my God, we did it again. But this time, bang, we get... Do we have hovel? We must. Oh my God, we have hovel. That means we get a special child. If the settlement invaded hovel and they do not already have a savior, a special child is born. On this day, everyone remembers the birth of a very special child. Where they step, hope flourishes. We go for the birth of a savior story event. Oh my God. The newborn vanishes from the loving arms of the settlement for a fraction of a second. In that second, it spends a lifetime in the domain of the ethereal dreamer and returns with a dream. All right, guys, we may choose one. The dream of the beast, the dream of the crown, or the dream of the lantern. And whatever we choose, our savior is going to be just perfect. All right, our savior will dream of the beast. The newborn survivor gains 1 permanent red affinity, +1 permanent strength, and the following abilities. Keratosis. Before making an attack, you may declare Keratosis X in a loud, booming voice. If you do, that attack gains X automatic hits. X cannot be more than your total red affinities. When the attack ends, gain X hunt XP. Wow. When you trigger age 2, gain the Beast of Keratosis secret fighting art and life exchange. In the aftermath, gain 1 additional hunt XP. You may not wear other gear. If you trigger the white secret story event, you cease to exist. When you retire, you cease to exist. Wow. This is hugely powerful, but I don't know if I know how to use this. Oh my God. How good is that? All right, we have a savior. And I'll tell you what, we are going to need one. Let's prepare to take on the Watcher. All right, guys, so I have 2 endeavors left. And can I just say, that has completely rattled me. Having a red savior going into one of the hardest fights we're going to come across. That's just changed my plans. I have these little gear piles ready to go for what I thought was going to be my strategy for this dang upcoming Watcher. But, I mean, now I may not need to go certain ways. Guys, I am overwhelmed. I have to come back to this. That'll do for this episode. We're still in the development phase for Lantern Year 20. I have 2 endeavors left and so many decisions to make. Can you forgive me if we call it halfway there? And next ep, I'm gonna jump in with a full plan. I'll have it articulated so I'm not all over the shop like I am now. And then we are gonna go in and take on the Watcher. Oh, massive stuff coming up, guys. Hectic.
That was the most frustrating encounter I have ever had in Kingdom Death, bar maybe the first couple of encounters when I first started to learn the game. What a tedious antelope this was. Running left, right, center, back. We just could not keep up with him. And to top that off, we lost one of our characters before we even got there. We were 3 out of 4 survivors in. We just didn't have the wound output that we needed to make a quick fight of this. Far out. And then when we do finally take him on, I realize that I forgot to let him run free at one point. It was just delaying the inevitable. Trust me, that antelope was going down, but it would have been just another round of pointless chasing. Oh my God, kill it. Anyway, that is done, and we send our survivors on home, and we lose another one. Poor Loci. He just lost his dear old papa. He lost so much going through. We got crushed with him. And then by pure chance, by a poor roll of the dice, he drops into the caverns below. Oh, brilliant stuff. I'm actually happy to see him go. I didn't have the heart to carry on his journey anymore. So, Nora, Loci, it's been nice knowing you, but both of you were an absolute pain in the butt. And we got another apathetic disorder. Oh, I'm so glad we have some brand new survivors coming up. Seriously, we're getting to the point where we need them, right? Not only do we get a pair of twins, beautiful twins that are absolutely going to save us a little bit later on down the track, but a red savior, a savior in general, far out. This could not have come at a better time. I know you know it, I know it. Oh, what an exciting time to be playing Kingdom Death, right? Okay, that is about it for today, guys. An absolute whopper of an encounter. So happy to have it in the past. Now let's continue on and let's take on this Watcher. I am pumped. I believe we're prepared. Well, we will be prepared. I don't have the mental capacity to handle this right now. So I'm going to go away and I'm going to think about that and stitch it all together so we have the best chance possible heading off to take on the Watcher. If you have any random tips you'd like to throw my way, chuck them down in the comments below. Of course, make sure you do that anyway. Say hi in the comments, make sure you like and subscribe, do all those things that you guys can do to help this YouTube channel grow. It's an absolute pleasure to bring you these videos each week, even if I am just a tad late, probably. I don't know. I think I'm going to be late with this one. We'll see. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, my name's Michael. This is Bits Aboard. We'll catch you next time.